Hey guys, no one's in here just yet, but I'm just going to be doing some live work, and I wanted to test how this live stream went. Let me know if you can hear me, or if the fan's too loud, or anything else like that. So, hey, welcome, Yagdrasil. Oh, okay, cool. I thought maybe it was going to be really terrible. The fans here, sometimes the table's got a vibration to it, so. Yeah, what's up, LM? Miser. Hey, Robin. Yeah, I went ahead and just decided to test it without you. We'll do a higher production one later. No, I didn't. Where's the new show Ragnarok at? Thanks. Appreciate that, environmentalist. Or should I call you right wing? Netflix, and it's called Ragnarok. Okay, I'll check it out. I have not seen it yet. I've not even seen an advertisement for it. What's up, Factory? It's nice to have Disco International. Okay, cool. Well, I always love stories about Thor. Reincarnation, though, that's an interesting one. Reincarnation of Thor. Huh. Okay. After Ragnarok happened. So he gets just reincarnated, I guess, as one of the children of the two left over in the tree. That's a good question, Robin. I'm actually about to do some spore streaks. So right now I'm just getting the table prepped, and I've got a spore print here from one of my new varieties that I'm doing an isolate from, and I'm just going to do spore streaks from it, and then we'll grow out the isolates in a variety of grow bags to test, what kind of genetics, what kind of recessive genetics we've got in that line. That is a Presto. I have two Prestos sitting over there. One of them's kind of off camera. And then I've got a All-American sitting on the floor in there. That's the 75X, the electric ones. And it's a 23 quart, not 21. What's up, the one? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Okay, tell me if I misspelled this name or mispronounced this name. Leandro? What's up, man? It's nice seeing we got someone from Austria here and now someone from Brazil. I was just planning on testing this out, guys. I did not expect you guys, this many people to jump on real quick. Thank you, Robin. I think it is exciting. I'm loving creating new varieties. I can't wait till we bring them live on the website. Thanks, man. Leandro. Okay. I didn't know. So I never took any Portuguese. A couple of my buddies are Mormons, and they, my friend's Ben's father did his mission in Brazil, and then Ben's brother did his mission in Brazil, and I think they're pretty fluent in Portuguese now. So I've heard a bit of it, but I mean, it's different than Spanish for sure. Thanks, Miser. Appreciate it. Scotland. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. Wow, we're going all over the place. Norse Spore is the one that came out with the black trumpet. That is actually from Asia. I don't know. What do you mean you can't crossbreed? Are you saying that legally I can't crossbreed or biologically? Bumble Scotland. I've never heard of Bumble Scotland. My family when we did our family history, we traced it back to Reedsdale, which is just south of the Scottish border. It was the Border Scott area. New Zealand, oh my gosh. Yeah, so strains of the same species can cross, but two different species, it's weird. Oyster mushrooms, actually different species will pretty readily crossbreed. I think they produce infertile crosses for the most part, but that doesn't always, it's not always the case. So what's up, Maine Teaks? Is that like a play on the word antiques? Yes, yeah, so sometimes stuff just happens. So I've heard of people crossing golds and like tree oysters, and golds are citronella, pine. Oh my gosh, I can't say it right now. And then tree oysters are austriatus. So yeah, Ulster Scots. That's right. I do spore streaks on my regular production mushrooms. So my blue oyster is actually a descendant of Lambert's 123. It was just an isolate. It's very similar to it. As far as I can tell, there's not much in the way of noticeable differences between the two, but I have put them in a dish before and they won't grow back together. So it means that they're two different strains. Belgium, awesome. Welcome. Is that Klein? Is that how I would say that? Upstate New York. My gosh, guys. Yeah, quite a few people from all over the place here. Actually, I sent out a bunch of packages the other day, and it was so cool. I sent to Alaska, Hawaii, Florida, Maine, Illinois, Indiana, and Texas. It was kind of cool just seeing things just shoot off all over the place. So, yeah, Lowland Scott. The Ulster Scots were Ulster Scots after they moved to Ulster, Ireland, is my understanding of it. And from my understanding, my family fought in the Jacobite Rebellion and lost, and therefore the Clan Reed was destroyed. Or Robertson clan or something like that. I think it's the greater clan that we were in, but it's just in your neck of the woods, Pigeon Forge. Yes, Pigeon Forge is amazingly beautiful. Mushrooms. Is that Malin mushrooms? Is that you? Flybridge, Chio. What does Chio mean? Oh, Ohio. I'm sorry. The print is really small. Robin actually suggested that the first time we do this, that I do it with you guys, hanging out, and her being able to ask me the questions because there's so many people and the print's hard to read. And as you can see, I'm not actually doing much lab work, but I'm talking to you guys at the moment. Hey, Oak and Spore. We got a New Zealander in here, Kiwi. No, I can't do your lab work for you, man. Unless you want to fly me out there. I'll do your lab work all day long if you fly me out to New Zealand. The Black King strain have so many genetic variations because it's multi-spore ISO. Yeah, that's actually something I've been wondering about a lot. And I'm wondering if it's a mutation or if it's environmental conditions. And so that's kind of why I put the question out there, was hopefully to see if anybody else had dialed it in so that they were getting no differences in their phenotypes. How do you keep your cultures? Is it possible to replenish back to Gen 1? Yeah, so hold on one second. So I'm actually going to be doing some of these a little bit later on today, and it's just culture slants, and I use these just to store my originals in. And so these will get opened up, inoculated, wrapped back up, and then refrigerated. And basically, I always store these. I'll make 3 of each variety, and then I store at the oldest point that I can. And that way I'm always able to go back and refresh, just to pull a little chunk out. For example, let me grab my Boston Edison Racing one. I got this from Terrestrial Fungi, and it's the Boston Edison reishi, and it's a fantastic reishi. It's the fastest growing one I've ever come across, and it's not as bitter as a lot of other varieties. I have pulled from this single slant maybe 6 times, and as you can see, there's still a lot of, like, it just grows back in. And so the slant just continually, I can just keep reusing it as long as it doesn't contaminate. And I got backups of this. And so basically for a long, long time, here, I'm going to turn this back to zap on low while we're talking. I'll be able to pull from that for a long, long time. Mushrooms also don't really age the way we do. They kind of have like a immortality factor to it. That's a gross oversimplification. Let's see. Indiana here. Welcome, Indiana. Tampa. I'm assuming that's Tampa, Florida. I did find out recently that there's Tampa and other places, but they're typically much smaller. Both Mossy Creek and Oak Explorer have been a reliable source of info for me. Kudos to both. Hey, Michelle, that's great. I actually just talked to the guy from Oak Explorer, on this live stream as well, but over Facebook the other day, just telling him I really like his channel. I just discovered him. I didn't know he existed until just recently, so you guys should definitely check him out. Go and subscribe to Oak Explorer. His videos are arguably more entertaining than mine, and he's got a pretty sweet steamer set up. I would do business with Mossy pretty much before I do North Sport based on the videos North Sport has produced. So, Tix, I don't actually know. I buy from North Sport pretty regularly. Those guys are pretty good. Jonathan Carver is a really good guy who really cares about the mushroom community. Their videos, I don't know what they've produced. I've actually not looked at them much, and so I appreciate you saying that. Like, I'm really hoping that means that you just really enjoy our content. Because you really enjoy our content, that's why you're wanting to purchase from us. So, let's see. How many did you say you do for each master slant? I do 3. So my Blue King, I've got 3 here on site. I have 3 at my parents' house, we'll have 3 at my parents' house. I don't actually have 3 over there yet. And then the best way to save a culture is to sell it. That's something I found out. I actually used to really hoard my N&G oyster, and I almost lost it. And now I give it away. So Lenny Rockwell and I trade back and forth occasionally. So he's actually got 2 of my original strains. So I did lose something one time and was able to go to Lenny, or 3. He's got 3 of my strains. The Comb Tooth, the Pathfinder, and the King Blue. Make sure you use code Mossy. It gives me a little bit of kickback and lets him know where you're getting that stuff from. But having had those, I lost one time, and he sent me a syringe of it, and I immediately had that strain again. So sharing this stuff and constantly going back and forth, oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. I gotta scroll back up. You guys are I'm liking this a lot. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate this. You're making this fun. Canada. Hey, we got someone from Canada. Welcome, you Canuck. Is that a bad word? Or is that just a way to say that? And now I've forgotten what I've said. It said Mumbai. Welcome, Mumbai. That'd be Stephen from Mumbai. So anyways, getting them off site allows me to get the slant somewhere else and always have that strain saved so that I don't, lose it forever. The slant got a nutritious agar to it. I do it because it's a long-term storage. In the bottom, I don't know if you can see this or not. Not only the lighting's going to work for me. This is why Robin warned me. That slant is got soy and sawdust in the bottom, and then it also it's just a malt extract agar that I make up that is pretty nutritious and will last a long, long time, especially with the wood in there. Oak Explorer, you're very welcome. Let's see, North Spore's videos tell a lot about their methodology. Okay, I'll check them out. I'll go look at them and check out their videos and see what you're talking about. Yeah, Lenny's a good guy to buy from. Lenny's really cool, and Lenny does international shipping, which I don't typically. I've tried to ship to Canada a couple of times, and it works most of the time. But sometimes I have to resend it, and that international shipping kills me. Thanks, Saltine Cracker. I appreciate that. Yeah, I would grow mushrooms even if it lost me money, which back in the day it did. It took me a while to figure out how to get that going. Oh, and my buddy from Illinois is calling me. I'll call him right back. Let's see. Oh gosh. Oh no. You guys are drowning me. Our crazy government just allowed Austriatis. Then after we imported a few strains, they said, actually, no, you're only allowed to 1 strain. They decided 3. Really? So wait, where are you from again? 3015 is not Austriatus. Interesting. My understanding is 3015 is Austriatus. That's the Amisil's tree oyster, I thought. I have before. Again, need some reishi in Florida oyster. Yeah, so not to divert you from Lenny, but terrestrial fungi is the best place to go for reishi. He's got every species I can think of, even some like one that I found, one that my buddy found, Hugh Brewer found here in Sevierville, that is Ganoderma Martinique, and I think that he still has that strain. What's interesting about that one is they found it 3 times in 3 different places, 3 different counties here in East Tennessee, and the island of Martinique, and they've not found it anywhere else. Is my understanding. At least that's what it was a few years ago. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad I didn't say like a racist term for Canadians or something. I don't know if there are any. Michigan, welcome, Ryan. You do the stick, I'm assuming. I don't do the stick in there. I put pellets. That's just easier. It's also to keep your cultures in cold storage, frozen. I have done this with spawn. I've frozen spawn, blue oyster and everything else, and they came out just fine, worked just fine. I've not done it with slants. Hi, they're from Wales, UK. Okay, welcome, Ian. Been growing agaricus for 40 years and only just getting more exotics. Hey, man, I've got a lot of respect for the agaricus guys. I've tried to grow agaricus a few times and have not had success with it. I know a few people who've grown the almond portobello with some good success, though. I think that's a different species. Hopefully I can get a plug for Michelle. Oh, my gosh, you can't read that. I'm sorry. Michelle. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Is it Michellem's Mushroom Rangers? Did I pronounce that properly? I grow mushrooms in my spare bedroom with all the tutorials from Mossy Creek and Open Score. Hey, that's great. I really appreciate that. And yeah, let's plug you. Yeah, Michellem's Mushroom Rangers. I'm really bad at pronouncing these guys. Language is not my forte. Nice initiative, dude. I'm not on a Wi-Fi now, so can't watch the work. Well, hey man, I hope you're able to come back later and check us out sometime. The live stream should be published later. Will the mycelium grow all the way through the slant? Or, oh no. Sometimes whenever it comments it, I try to scroll down, it scrolls me all the way down to the bottom immediately, and I'm trying to catch up on you guys. Will the mycelium grow all the way through the slant or just the surface like regular agar? So actually on regular agar, a tip to this is that you could cut a slit down. You've got your dish, cut a slit down, and then take your piece of tissue and put it under the agar. It will grow under the agar, over the agar, and through the agar. And actually, a lot of times you're not seeing. Excuse me, 1 second. A lot of times you're not seeing it because it's growing kind of thin through the agar, but it actually does. I think it grows faster on the surface because of the available oxygen, but it will grow down. I always do the Roger Rabbit method by putting the tongue depressor in the master slant. That's a great way to do it. I used to do it that way. I just had pellets, and I forgot to order the tongue slants, the tongue depressors one time, and just never went back to it. Just because the pellets work so just fine. New Zealand, okay. Yeah, I know there's a lot of problems with importing things into New Zealand. It's kind of like Hawaii, I think, that they have some pretty strict standards, and rightly so. They've got a pretty sensitive environment. Just watched your Black Pearl video. Looking forward to seeing how those pan out. Man, those things are killers. I'm loving them. So whoever did that strain made a massive improvement, I think, to the industry. I'd like to find out who that is and just talk to them for a little while. Yeah, that's what we thought, but apparently they know better than the rest of the world. Who knows better, the government or Amazon? Oh, you like his strain? Sorry, I don't remember who he is. Oh, unless you're talking about terrestrial fungi. Okay, so I love terrestrial fungi's reishi. Lenny's a great place to get reishi too, but Ryan Paul Gates is the reishi master as far as I'm concerned. Ryan's the big dog. So I've had a slant last for 2 years in the refrigerator. I like to refresh them once a year, but guys, that kind of goes whenever you're swamped with stuff, you'll forget. The reishi for the one that that I cloned for a buddy of mine was Ganoderma martinique. I don't know if Ryan sells it on his website. You may have to ask for it directly. But terrestrial fungi is the place to go. Yeah, those black pearls are delicious. Hey, we got a Hungarian in the mix. Welcome. My favorite mushroom to eat. King oysters are one of my all-time favorites. The black pearls are kind of in that same game, though I like the texture on the kings just a little bit better. Morels. Morels were one of my first mushrooms that I ever tasted that was not a portobello. I still love portobellos. I will tell you that the only mushrooms I don't like are the chestnut mushrooms. And I grow those because my chefs like them and a lot of people do. And I think everyone in my household likes chestnuts. I just don't. And I think that I might have a mild allergy to them because they make my throat kind of itchy and no one else has reported that. And so if that's the case, that's probably why I don't like them. But other than that, man, I'll eat pretty much any kind of mushroom you put in front of me. I love mushrooms. Love your videos. I also love your wife's art post on your Instagram. Thank you very much. Yeah, Samantha's a killer at art. And thank you very much for the videos. Actually, Robin McMahon is doing a great job editing all these videos. And you guys need to make sure you put a lot of comments that you want to hear me talking to Robin in the videos because she keeps editing herself out. So, let's throw her under the bus a little bit. Hey, we got someone from Poland. Welcome. MQ over. I don't know how you want me to pronounce that, so we can call you MQ. Or just Q, like in bomb. Michelle, Ya Schindler fungi for the people. Yeah, Jay. It's Jay. I always pronounce that Ya. I don't know why. Jay Schindler. Yeah, I actually have one of its strains that I got fairly recently. It's the Elm Z, and it saved my butt through the summertime because it is a warm weather elm oyster and actually thrives in the heat, which is kind of rare for a lot of tree oysters. I haven't taken his class. I've talked to Jay some. He's kind of got ghosted here recently, and I know that a few people still talk to him. And I probably could if I try to contact him directly, but I haven't. But I really enjoyed Jay. He's a good guy. He's very knowledgeable. He also has a different inoculate technique. He uses popsicle sticks. Now that's interesting. I'm interested to know: is he inoculating the popsicle sticks separately and then just inserting them into this, or is he? Does he just have those in the nutrition and then inoculates it the more traditional way? Yes, the bagger plans are coming soon. I know you guys are dying for that. Ben works a full-time job, and they're working him into the ground right now. So, and he's also building baggers for people. I think he's got 2 right now that he's building. So, he's a little overburdened right now, and that is not your all's fault. And that's something I'm trying to figure out if there's some way I can help him. But I'm not the technical guy. I'm the biology guy. So, drinking from a mason jar must be some shine in there. Not today. Not today. No, maybe a little. And it's pronounced Michael Liams. Okay. I didn't know. I should have known actually by looking at your name now because my brother's name was Michael and it's spelled the exact same way. So Michael Liams Mushroom Rangers. A cross between Mycelium and Michael Lee. Okay. I really apologize for mispronouncing your name. But yeah, guys, check out Michael Liam's Mushroom Rangers. I know Michael Liam's been following us for a while and kind of hanging out with us a lot. He's been here a long, long time. So, Focus 4, I hope that wasn't 70% alcohol in that jar you just swigged. It was not 70% isopropyl, if that makes a difference. I actually have mason jars as drinking cups. Don't know why I love them. We do too. We always have. I don't know if you're Southern or not, but I know it was really common back around here for a long time. So, Oak and Spore, hope Patreon is doing well for you. Yeah, me too, guys. Go check out his Patreon as well. We're going to be doing exclusive content on my Patreon soon to make it a little bit about me here for just a moment. But so that exclusive content's coming out really, really soon, so you guys should check that out too. But Oak and Spore, guys, I'm loving his videos. Check out his Patreon. Please support him. I really want him to have some tangible benefits to doing this YouTube thing because I know it's kind of frustrating when you first start down. I think he said he's only been doing it for about a year, and the first year is so hard. It's so hard, and you don't really feel the tangible benefits. Like, I'm just now starting to really, get paid back for having an editor and camera equipment and things like that. So, and that's really just through orders through the website. size test tube to use. This is actually not a test tube. This is a centrifuge tube, and it's a 50 mil centrifuge tube. I will do a video on slants soon, and we'll do a link to this where I buy them. I actually just buy them on Amazon about 500. Let's see. Ogun Spore, right? That was some shady behavior. I must have missed. Oh. All right. Yeah, it's not alcohol, I promise. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, it slipped again. All right. What size test do you use? Ogun Spore. Is 1-to-1 ratio efficient enough? If you're talking about for the slants, for a 1-to-1 ratio, yeah, I do 500 milliliters of water, 20 grams of malt extract agar, and the way I make my malt extract agar is 10 grams agar, 10 grams malt extract, or some other sugar source, and then 1 gram each of hardwood sawdust and the soybean hull pellets. And that, just put that all in a Romaner flask, stuff it with cotton. Sorry, not cotton, polyfill, and top it with aluminum foil and pressure cook it for 30 minutes at 15 psi. We love Hungarian people. Doesn't everybody love Hungarian people? Don't people love all Eastern Europeans? It's like where like a lot of the most beautiful women in the world come from. That in Scandinavia, and Western Europe, and America, and Africa and Asia. Yeah, I guess there's beautiful women everywhere. I love trumpet mushrooms the best, I think. Yes, I love them. So something that I've been playing around with is we grow these giant kings. You take these giant kings, lop off the cap, right? You can hollow out where the stem was, scoop out the gills, and then just stuff these giant king caps. I've got a picture somewhere. I wish I could show you right now, where I have my hand sitting in a cap, and the king oyster cap is like that big. The stem is as big as my forearm, and I've got a pretty beefy forearm. So, and it was just gigantic. And stuffing those things and roasting them like you would like a bell pepper or something like that. Like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Love maitake. Have you ever grown it? I have grown maitake. I've not done very well at it. I know a lot of people do it. Far West Fungi, Brooks Warden is really, really good at growing maitake. Fox Farm and Forage, I think they do some of it as well out in North Carolina. I think T.R. Davis just said that he got the Shogun maitake somehow, the Shogun strain, but I haven't seen anything else from that yet. But I do love maitake. It is my favorite wild mushroom to eat so far. Cordyceps. I have not grown cordyceps. I don't know much about them. I've tried it a couple of times. William Padilla Brown is the guy to go for that. I'm having trouble remembering the name of his company all of a sudden. But if you look up William Padilla Brown on Facebook, you can find his website, and he's got a manual on growing cordyceps, and I've always been planning on doing it. I'm so busy with my breeding projects, I've not really been able to take the time. What's your take on, I don't know, on block rotation for consistent harvesting? I think it's a great idea. I don't like to get every single mushroom out of a block. It's wasteful, in my opinion, in space and time. And so I like to leave a block in there for 2 weeks. Sometimes it stays for 3, where I'll get 2 flushes. But if I can do a 1 flush and done, that'll keep your contamination down because stuff's not building up on the substrate in the block. Robin, where are you at? We need your secret inside intel. You got this. So, my understanding is all the silly stuff I do in between takes, Robin's been videoing and is planning on embarrassing me at some point with a secret release. So, I have no shame. It won't be an embarrassment. Michael Lee, yes, he inoculates them, inserts them into substrate. Okay, that's cool. That's actually that's an elegant, simple solution. I will try that, and then I might do a video on it. Agricil, question about your fruit blocks. Yeah, how much do they weigh, substrate mass, and on top of that, do you just sterilize them PC? I want to do some large bags, but probably only fit 2 bags per PC if large. So, Agricil, the answer to that is my blocks usually come out to about 12 1/4 pounds wet. That is 2.5 pounds of sawdust pellets, 2.5 pounds of soy hull pellets. Since we do everything by volume, there is some fluctuation. And then water comes out to about 7.25 pounds. So it's roughly a 60% hydration. And we do a ultra pasteurization. It's atmospheric sterilization, so called. We do that out in our steamer, and that is just it's a cattle trough with a boiler that injects the semen to the bottom of that, and we cover it with plastic and a blanket, an old blanket, just to insulate it, and that's the way we do that. So, yeah, I only drink from mason jars now. Yeah, me too, for the most part. Mason jars make great drinking glasses. It's a Southern USA habit that came from Canada Foods. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know where it came from. Michael, any plans for classes? Yes. Now, would you guys be more interested in in-person classes, or are you going to be more interested in online classes? Online classes, I figure we can probably do for cheaper, but you won't get as much personal attention from me as you do personal. Actually, we could probably just do both. I have a mini shiitake crop. Why does my shiitake attack green mold? How do they fight? How do I fight at the very beginning? Are there any protection measures? Okay, I'm not sure that I completely understand your question, but I'm going to try to give it a go here. Your shiitake attacks green mold. I have noticed this too. The block will trike up. You'll still have your white spots growing, and all of a sudden the green starts shrinking and the white takes over. I don't know why it attacks it. But I know that trichoderma, which is a green mold, is often used as an agricultural supplement. So it may just be that it is fast, and then it's not as strong as the shiitake, and the shiitake grows, takes it over, and then just uses it like a fertilizer like anything else would. How do you fight it at the beginning? Clean technique in the lab and strong sterilization. A lot of people talk about caramelization of your sugars and your substrates. We have done test after test after test after test, and I can find nothing that backs that up. So it does not slow my stuff down to just cook it to death. Also, liquocultures are the best way for beginners without flow heads. I agree, Michael Lee. I absolutely agree. I used to think not so, but I'm not too big to admit when I'm wrong. What do you think about mushroom supplements? Vitamin supplements with various mushrooms. I know they must have vitamin D, but what else is beneficial about it? So I just take mushrooms as a supplement. I actually take Paul Stamets, 3 of them. The cordyceps, the host defense, which is the multi one, and then the lion's mane. And I've only been taking them for a couple weeks now. I don't have any reports yet on those. My thoughts are, I hope one day when they dig up my bones that and they do that test on it to find out, man, what kind of food do these guys eat? They're going to be like, well, this guy ate an insane amount of mushrooms. His bones are like his body's just all mushrooms. As far as what's beneficial about it, I know the theories. I don't know any real information about it. I know that there have been reports for different studies that are done for reishi, for oyster mushrooms affecting cholesterol, reishi affecting inflammation, all that stuff. I don't really know anything else. Have you ever tried growing morels? I have, back in my early days. I have since come to find out that it's really more expensive to try it. Like, if people do it successfully, it's just you put so much money into it, it's not worth it yet. Someone will figure that out. William Padilla Brown's company is Apex Fungi. Yes, Apex Fungi is William Padilla Brown's company. Apex Fungi is a great place to go for cordyceps. Check him out. I think Ryan Paul Gates at Terrestrial Fungi does cordyceps as well. Where else are we at? Holy moly, I can't believe I made it. Welcome, goddesses. It's always good to have goddesses around. Since you're using LC more now, do you go from LC to Grain Master or directly to bulk spawn? I go to Grain Master most of the time just because of the speed of inoculation, and then I can take that because I deal with a lot of new strains on the regular. I'm constantly rotating through them. I'll make masters up, and then that jar of 1 pound spawn master will go into like 3 or 4 5-pound grain spawn bags and then 1 fruiting block. And that way, while the spawn's growing in, I can get my test grown out. And once my test is grown out, I can make the decision whether to move forward with that spawn or throw it out. Both online and personal, but I have no idea where you're at. I'm in East Tennessee. So if that helps, I'm in East Tennessee, but I've done in-person classes. I usually just call them consults, but I can do larger classes with a large. Like, I used to do law classes a lot. I actually love teaching. It's one of my passions. Goddesses, MKU over. Oh, sorry. You guys are talking to each other. If you had the space Would you go for more flushes or increase the amount of blocks? Increase the amount of blocks. I'm not digging deep into the substrate. I used to, and the amount of contamination that builds up is just not worth holding on to them. Is there any place for colloidal silver in mushroom cultivation? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know what colloidal silver is. I collect silver, like sterling silver, pure silver, like 1 troy ounce kind of coins, or rounds, I guess they call them. What goes into substrates? Whatever you want. My substrate, my bulk substrate, is half and half sawdust fuel pellets, hardwood sawdust fuel pellets, and soybean hull pellets, and then water, hydrate. I tried bottle cultivation to avoid so much plastic usage, but it's way too much work without equipment. That's exactly my problem with the bottle cultivation. This is something people get on about, is about the plastic usage in mushroom cultivation. I'm not really so worried about that yet, and it's not that I'm not an environmentalist. I'm actually a huge environmentalist. Waste is actually kind of good for the environment. I hate to put it that way, but for instance, the big plastic mat in the ocean is actually not growing at the same rate that they thought it would be, and the reason why they think that is because there's now some plasticivores bacteria that's evolved out there to actually eat up that plastic and go down. And if you like genetic diversity, well, that wouldn't have existed without the pollution by man. Now, my real reasoning beyond going over that controversial statement is that the amount of pollution you're creating by heating water, using soaps, using fresh water to wash your bottles is actually probably more dangerous to the environment than the plastic is, especially if the plastic ends up in the landfill and is all tucked away somewhere and doesn't end up in the ocean. Oh man, it went. Like I thought I was really close to the bottom and then just wham. Oh my gosh. What goes into substrates? Okay, there we go. I would love it if you did a large in-person group teach. Great. I'll set that up sometime. We'll do that this calendar year for sure. We'll do a few of them this year. It's funny how you notice certain things. I'm starting to see tractor trailers hauling mushroom snacks. Mushrooms can take a somebody just sent me a picture of that. That may have been Robin or Jason. I can't remember, but somebody sent me a picture of that recently. Colloidal silver has antibacterial properties and is very cheap to make. Okay, so that is great. I don't know what its application would be. I'd have to look into it more. Antibacterial property sounds good, but a bullet has antibacterial properties when fired out of a gun. So it's all about the usage and the implementation. So I'm not saying that it's not plausible. I don't have enough information to give you a good answer, man. I wish I did. Let's see. First of all, big thanks to you. How do you manage your? Well, thank you very much. How do you manage your spawn? Poorly, but I'm getting better. Let's say to produce 1,000 pounds of substrate a month, you make once a week, once a month. What's your spawn routine? I'm struggling with this. Okay, so I always work backwards. I want to produce a certain number of mushrooms. So I know that I'm producing on average about 3 pounds of mushrooms per first flush for most varieties. Now, I figure out, let's say I want to make 100 pounds. I know I need to grow 33.333 fruiting blocks to get those poundage. And I know that one 5-pound bag of spawn will go into roughly 30 bags of grain that will, one 5-pound bag of grain spawn will go into roughly 30 fruiting blocks. Those 30 fruiting blocks will produce, you go a little bit over, and then now you've got exactly what you need. So now you need to produce 1 bag of spawn per week, and then going forward from there, you've got everything you need figured out. Oh wow, goddesses, thank you so much. I think we can for sure. Yeah, absolutely. We can heal this planet with mushrooms in a lot of ways. I think it's going to take a lot of approaches. It's going to be us mycelium runners. It's going to be bacteriologists. It's going to be animal husbandry. And it is going to take a systems approach to this whole thing. We're going to have to really dig in deep and do a lot of systems building to really get this stuff going and get the trajectory going. And I'm confident that things are going in the right trajectory. Not everything is exactly the way I want it. I don't know. I got a comment that was flagged for review, and I'm not sure what he's trying to say. So I'll come back to it in just a second. Let me scroll back up and get back to the question roll. Have you given wheat germ supplements in your blocks of Master's Mix? I have used wheat bran, and wheat bran worked great for shiitake. I found in my oysters that actually got a much lower yield than the Master's Mix. You use the Master's Mix for all your mushrooms. Everything that we like to, going back to that systems talk, yes, I like to systematize on something that gives me the most optionality possible. So however many, every decision I make, Ben makes, Samantha makes, we always try to go with what's going to give us the most options later. That way we remain adaptable in a field that is still learning about itself. And so because of that, we have found that the Master's Mix grows the vast majority of the organisms that we want to grow. That being, oyster mushrooms, black poplar, chestnuts, lion's mane, comb tooth, king oysters. The list just continues to go on maitake. I think people are growing on maitake even. I do want to find out other pellet sources, and the baggers that we're currently trying to build are flexible in that we can fix the volume. So we'll be able to do like hardwood fuel pellets and alfalfa pellets, and do a different percentage mix based on the supplementation that we need. So going forward, that's something we really want to do, but is be able to have that even greater flexibility in our substrates. But for now, we've standardized on Master's Mix, and so that is what we try. We grow everything we can on Master's Mix. Do I have a tech from Morels? I don't. I really don't. There's a lot of different stuff about that I just don't know enough about trying to grow morels to give you good guidance there, and I don't really want to give you bad guidance. Has your strategy for acquiring chefs changed? Not so much. I don't remember the last time you and I talked, Crash Ride, about this, but no, my strategy is walk in with a box at the time that they're not busy, usually when they're doing kitchen prep for before lunch. Have my card stapled to the top of the box. Just walk in and say, may I talk to the person in charge of purchasing produce? When they hand me off to that person, I then go to them and I basically hand the box to them, and I walk away. As I'm backing up, I'm saying, hey guys, I'm just Andrew with Mossy Creek Mushrooms. Wanted to give you a sample of our product. This is a full case of oyster mushrooms that we sell for $80, and I know your time's really important. I'll get out of your hair. And a lot of times they'll stop you right then, or I've gotten calls out in the parking lot, or I've gotten calls when I'm on my way out. But once they've opened those boxes and they look, just absolutely beautiful. And then from that point on, I try to sign them up for weekly lists. I let them know that if they don't sign up for a weekly delivery of a certain number of boxes or cases each week, that I can't prioritize them. They'll have to go on my overflow list, which is a text list that I have for chefs, where I just text them all and I say, hey guys, I've got this many left over. I do have certain chefs that I prioritize on my text list, that if I know someone in particular likes kings, I'll always text him first. And if he doesn't want the kings, I'll give it to the whole list. So no, it's not really changed in years. I mean, it's a self-perpetuating system at this point. I've got no reason to change it. Curious what your thoughts or views are on biofabrication. Well, if you're talking about making materials, there's a great Facebook group that I was a part of. I don't know if I'm still a part of it or if it's just kind of gone quiet. That was Myco Textiles and Building Materials or something like that. And there were people doing research into it. I think it's a fascinating subject. I don't think it's anywhere near monetization yet. But I mean, then again, people are already making packing materials with it. So maybe I'm wrong on that too. This is the same kind of lab work I do too. Most of the time spent staring at YouTube. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Seriously though, this is why you've got the followers you do. You care about it, interacting with us. We love you for it. Yeah, guys. So I thank you very much for those kind words. I really appreciate that. The biggest thing for me is I like people, and I love mushrooms. So I get to combine my two best things by talking to you guys about mushrooms all the time. So why wouldn't I do my two favorite things? Hang out with you cool people and talk shop. And I love you guys for it too. Like, I never expected my channel to get more than 1,000 followers, and we're almost at 10. Oh crap, we need to do something for 10,000 followers. I'll work on that. Robin and I are going to work on that. Hey man, can you make a video about morel mushrooms? I'll tell you what, Ibram. I'll do that in the spring when I go morel hunting. I've got a buddy who goes and he gets baskets and baskets and baskets of it. He last time he took me out to this bear preserve, and we got to go walk around and do all that kind of stuff. And he's got a great photo where he was out hunting mushrooms, and he was bending down at a bush, sitting there just picking his mushrooms or whatnot. And he said he heard a snap, and so he stands up, and a bear must have heard that same snap because that bear stood up, and they're right there, both one's on one side of the bush and he's on the other side of the bush, and they're both kind of looking at each other like that, like, oh my gosh. And my buddy Ed pulls out his phone and he's just like, click, and then it just like starts backing away. And that bear takes off, and that he's got that picture, and it is that bear is absolutely like, whoa, like there's a person here, this is bad. So it's a great one. But I'll see if he'll let me do a video with him because he's a crack up. Back in the 80s on the something set, this guy had everyone screwed up on mushrooms. Never forget it. You know me, man. I'm sneaky. Since you like to use blocks just once, what do you do with them afterwards? Is there any way to donate that to local gardens or anything? Yes, absolutely. Donate it all. Donate it, sell it, whatever you can do. We do. Samantha is got some pretty ambitious plans for flower gardens. Her roses go crazy. Our sunchokes go amazing. Everyone in the neighborhood during the summer is always asking what Samantha does with her flowers. And she just literally, whenever in the wintertime, when everything's dead, she just goes out there with the employees and they just stomp blocks in the garden. I mean, that's exactly the way to do it. Remove plastic, stomp blocks. Sometimes we sprinkle a little urea on it that we get from the farmer's co-op, and man, it just makes great gardens. But I think that giving it away is a great way to build your name, and it's a good way to take a waste resource and turn it into something good for the community. A few people have turned blue because of colloidal silver. I don't know anything about that. That sounds controversial. I think we'll step back from that conversation. They're producing mushrooms that can eat plastic, false stamens. Yes, I've heard about this. Say live with oil and vehicle fluids and inoculated one pile with mushroom blocks and the other without. Yeah, that's a great study. His one on oil for sure. And I knew about the plastic one, but I don't think there's a lot of research that's been done on it yet. Just like a study or two. Do you know the process by which mycelium extracts are obtained from mushroom health supplements, i.e. how they separate the mycelium from the substrate, and have you considered that? I have considered that. I've thought about doing it in liquid culture, testing it if it's clean, and then growing medicinals that way for the mycelium for the ones in which the active components are stronger than that. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I know some companies take their grain spawn, and I used to have a problem with that. They'll take the grain spawn, dry it, and then pulverize it, turn it into a powder, and then you're like, oh man, now you get all these carbohydrates in it. Well, if you ever take some spawn that's really grown in, take that kernel and squish it, every bit of that inside is coated in white mycelium. So yeah, there's carbohydrates in there for sure, but you're getting a ton of mycelium. So I'm not really that worried about how they do it either way. I've not read about the alcohol extraction or anything yet, other than tinctures. Do you think that Master's Mix premix would be profitable to sell in 50-pound bags? One company I found that sells premix. So I know the guy. He does not make a lot on it, actually. So it's kind of like a service he's offering to the community where he takes like a couple of pennies off the top of the bag. I mean, he's not making a lot of money, and God bless him for it, because the premix getting to people's doors is not a bad way to go. I do think that you can make money growing on the premix. Your substrate cost is such a small portion of the value you get out of a bag that I'm not really. One of my best friends calling. I've been to put my phone on silent and forgot. But anyways, you can still make money off of it. Your substrate costs are low. Labor is always where you should look to save money. Mossy, they just don't like me because it's fine. Well, man, you got to grow out that stash. Goddesses, that's what I meant. Well, wheat brand. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Oh, my gosh, guys. I am horribly behind. Have you experimented with dehydrating mushrooms? Yes. And I used to powder them and sell them at market, but where we don't go to market anymore, we just powder it for ourselves. The one inoculated broke down all the contamination and produced great soil, and the other one just leached out the contamination. Yeah, that's the Paul Stamets oil study. That was a great one. I loved watching that. There's a video on it. You should just look that up. Paul Stamets oyster mushroom oil, something like that. Goddess is $10,000 you could do a live class for 10 people. I'll mention that to Rob. We'll see what we can do. I don't know that I can set that up fast enough because you guys, like, you can see the graph. My graph is just taking off like crazy. You guys are building the channel like crazy, and thank you for that. I gained 684 subscribers in the last 28 days, so I don't know that I can build a class fast enough. But maybe I can do a live class. A live class would be neat. I don't know if you can do it for just 10 people though. Yes, they make Excelsior out of straw inoculated with mycelium cinder block. Yeah, absolutely. This stuff is cool. I love the idea of growing what you build with. Goddess says, I donate my spent blocks to the local community garden. They then donate to the local soup kitchens. That is a fantastic system. Please keep that up. We really need to make sure that, that's one thing I like about the permaculture methodology is that you overproduce in so many different ways. You sell, and then all that leftover energy and time that you've spent focusing on getting your labor bill down, and then that overproduction that you've created gets spent back out in the community. I think that's a great way to go. We should always be community minded. That doesn't mean that we should be pushovers. That doesn't mean that we don't need to be ruthless in business. You need to be ruthless in business because you need to take care of yourself, or you won't be there to give that energy out to other people. But community building should always be what we do with the RXS. Also, have you thought about returning your waste substrate blocks and dirt, mixing it into soil amendment? Yes, I have. I have not done that yet. I have absolutely been thinking about it. Do you try to get second flushes? And if so, what do you do to get the best results? I just leave it alone. I do get second flushes, and that's as far as I go on my blocks. And I literally cut the hole, pick the mushrooms the first flush, leave the block alone. It'll produce mushrooms the second time. Shroom Gang. Thanks, Bugsy B. Yeah, that was my real question. The pre-mix makes small growth so much simpler and easier. It does. Yeah, it absolutely does. So when you're on a really small scale, labor. Save on labor. Focus on your value increase and saving on your labor. Systematize everything, standardize everything you can. Allow a workflow to develop and just allow things to kind of move through. You should show up, do the work, and there should be no impediment to action. Meaning everything should be in its place, ready to go, focused on reducing your labor, your stress. You need to manage your stress anytime you go into business, or you won't have the longevity to do this. This is also why I suggest that people don't cut deals in the early days. Don't go up and cut deals to people. Samantha and I had this glorious vision that we were going to sell mushrooms for a fair price, and we were not going to overcharge when we first began, and we almost went out of business. And as soon as we started focusing on getting, the real value that the market set, that's whenever we started to go, oh my gosh, we can grow fewer mushrooms, not work ourselves to death, and make a real living off of this. And the service that we're providing to the community is so much larger now than the impact that we were able to do back then when we were focused on doing it fair instead of, focusing on what makes us have longevity, adaptability, and sustainability. So you can also stream your live classes. That sounds great. We should do that. We should absolutely look into that. I don't know anything about this. I'm Grandpa Andrew. I don't know. I just hit the button on this, and I had no idea what would happen. So you guys are blowing me away. Crash Rat, how do you sort out many employees you need and what to pay them? So that's a question that I have to current consult sometimes, and it's really an individual case-by-case basis. I don't know what your workload is. I don't know what all you're trying to do. I don't know where you're trying to end up. But I can tell you that for the op my size, I have 2 daily laborers who work part-time, Samantha and myself. They do all the production. Samantha and I just make up whatever the lack of is there. I focus on experiments, and I am now throwing myself into order fulfillment. And then I have 2 contract employees. My 2 contractors, like Robin, works on doing video editing, exploring this kind of stuff. The live stream, she actually got all this stuff set up for me. And then Melanie runs a lot of our social media and does blog writing for the blog, and then does all the infrastructural work on the website. So we end up having a lot of, we've got 4 employees, but it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. For an op where you're growing 800-900 pounds a week, you can probably do that just you and your wife. You are a partner. You probably, and if you want to get 2 employees, they can probably run it part-time, and that'll give you a lot more time on your hands to do the stuff you're more interested in. Sales, I think the owner should always be involved in sales as long as they're good at it. and having your face on the company, being the local mushroom guy, that's a huge um, that's a huge benefit, huge advantage because people will know you as a mushroom guy. Let me tell you, if you're an a-hole, then don't you need to get somebody out there who's in front of you who is not, and that's okay. All of us have different personalities. You just gotta need to know yourself and know where you belong. How do you let's see, how do you yeah, what to pay them? I pay um, kind of what it is. I look at, like, since we're doing part-time labor, so skilled positions, I look at what a skilled position like it would pay around here, and then I just do it by my area. So my part-time employees, um, they get paid what a part-time employee would get typically around here, and then I add just a little bit extra to attract better talent. So I think the standard around here part-time is about $8 an hour, and then we'll start normally around $9 an hour, and then within the first 3 months we try to give a raise, and then we're about to go through and do our next round of those soon. So 10,000 followers, Robin can make her big reveal. Guys, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to do it. How do you make your hair so fantastic? Well, Ben, since you're in the other room and probably hearing this live, you can come in here and check out my hair in person. And I do nothing. I just slick it back. I'm just a hairy person. Oh, man, I lost it. Billy Nash, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Gosh, Ben, scare me to death. You're not going to come join the live stream? No?
Hi, everybody.
Ben said hi, everybody. He'll give it to you guys later. What's your opinion? Oh, man, gosh, my heart is thumping from that. What's your opinion on using filter fan units as flow hoods? The ceiling units for clean rooms like Myers and others using. Hey, they're having good results with it. So what works. I don't really have much more than that on it. I don't have any experience with it either, so I don't know how well it works, but it seems like they're having good results. Were you ever worried about not having enough consistent sales to keep paying rent before as you started? Yeah, guys, that's going to worry every day. Once you kind of start a business or a farm or anything like that, it becomes your baby, and any little failure is felt pretty hard, and you start to worry constantly. It's like having kids. If you have kids, then it's kind of like that. You just don't. It's always in the back of your mind. You never stop thinking about it. I go to the beach. My dad. I'm very lucky that I have a father who really cares about having family vacations together. He's done it since I was a kid, and he still sometimes pays for my room because he wants to make sure that we are able to be successful in this. So, my mother too. They both. We're very lucky, Samantha and I, to have the kind of support structure we do. My family's still very clannish. You got to remember, my grandfather, growing up, was still using an outhouse, so it's not like we've been all that civilized for all that long. And there's something good about having that clan system. A little oppressive sometimes, but man, it's good knowing family's got your back. Brandon Sampson, thank you, man. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm happy to share it, and thank you for watching. Like, you guys are the ones building this channel. We're just making videos. Saw the video of what you guys do with the spent blocks. Have you ever heard of heating water through composting? Yes, actually, Wouter does that out of Denmark, Belgium, Amsterdam. I don't know European geography like I ought to, but yes, he does that, and I don't know if he still does that, but he has done it before, and it seemed like he had good results. Do you use the commercial air curtains like at large box stores to keep bugs out? No. I don't worry about it at all. I just throw my blocks away. I don't let them sit in the room. Joel Salatin of Polyface Farms was kind of the one that I took inspiration on this from. Oh my gosh, I got hiccups almost like Joel Salatin of Polyface Farms was the one that I took inspiration for that for. He rotates his cattle based on, and his pigs and all that kind of stuff, based on when the larva in the parasitic larva would hatch in their poop and then climb up the grass and then reinfect them, thereby creating that self-feedback loop of parasitism. So we do it the same with the blocks. I don't allow blocks to sit in there and collect beetle larvae, and then those beetle larvae or fly larvae hatch and go all over the place. So Um, Going back to that really quick, I always find that I like technique over technology. Systematizing a simple solution is worth its weight in gold. Michael Lee, in the early days, you have to sacrifice one thing: sleep. I do most of my sterile work, and then sterile work when the two mobile contamination units are asleep. My loving girlfriend and son. Yeah, dude, I did the same thing. You got to. And I mean, I'm lucky that I'm the kind of person I need 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. I don't sleep very much, and it's all the men in my family are the same way. In fact, I've got a cousin who sleeps like 2. Don't know if this is asked, but how would be the competition in a city with a larger company, i.e., Angel Farm Mushrooms, Eric Myers, and such? I'm not sure I completely understand your question. Are you asking how I would compete with them, or are you asking, is there enough room in the city for multiple farmers? Because I'll tell you, like a place like Atlanta, I know several mushroom farmers down there who are growing, and I've done consults for 3 of them. You making the coronavirus vaccine? No. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over a question. How does one know if there isn't already market saturation? Before starting, I know this all depends on supply demand. I don't know. I don't know how you would know beforehand if there's market saturation. My guess and my thoughts on this is that in the early days, you farmers ought to be focusing on farmers markets. Is what I did. You can get $20 plus per pound of mushrooms. We used to do $5 a basket, and we would do baskets of anything, and it would be we sold only for $5. We sold in increments of $5, and that made it easy for people at market. But it means that you can sell quarter-pound baskets for $5 each. You're getting $20+ per pound, and chefs will come to you. And at that point, that's when you really know. So I suggest doing it as a hobby, getting paid to do your hobby on the weekend. And it's easier said than done for a lot of people, I know. Selling at market and letting the chefs come to you at first. That's what happened to me. And I think that's the best way to test your market. You can also just go and ask chefs, like, hey, I'm very interested in growing exotic mushrooms for you guys. Is there any interest in that? And please, chef, understand that because I'm asking you if there's any interest in this, it's going to be, 6 months before I'm ready to bring you mushrooms, but I will do it, that kind of thing. You said that this is the biggest reason why I haven't taken the leap in 2+ years or more. Well, the longer you wait, the harder it is to do it. And I know you know that. So, I don't know. What's this channel about? Mushrooms, growing mushrooms. I mean, crazy. Gaines, Michigan. Love your vids. Thanks. Thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate that. It's kind of cool seeing where everybody's from. I don't speak that language, Mr. Tony. I would have to Google Translate that. I'm having a hard time keeping up with questions. And start with neighbors, farms, friends, or start with neighbors, friends, family to sell your mushrooms. One advice in starting a business is looking at what you can cut out of your budget. We don't own a TV. Michael Lee, I think that's great. I love video games. I love Apex. I play Apex all day long if I could. I don't. I mean, obviously, I get like an hour a day maybe. But I love Apex. Hey, Heathen, welcome back, man. Goddesses, what I meant by that was, do you use it to keep your spores in the room and potential contaminants out? Yeah, you're talking about the air curtains. I don't use any air curtains. We use pressure differentials in our different rooms. So I keep spores out of the lab here. Actually, we're doing one on ventilation that actually goes into this a little bit more in depth. Robin's got the footage right now and editing it. But what happens is you have air being brought in here and it's clean, and then it creates positive pressure in here and pushes out. So it kind of has the same effect as those air curtains. The grow room, I don't do anything for that. I just allow dirty air to be brought in. I'm not worried about it. I do management of the flow of blocks to work on that. Aye! What's up, Post Malone? Quasi. Wow, so much good info. You're very welcome. I hope that this is very useful for people. Wow, we've been going for an hour. I'm going to have to cut this down here in a minute and go eat some lunch. Oakum Spore, I think that is very good advice. We've been growing for markets, and last week had the 2018 New Zealand Chef of the Year come and ask for mushrooms, for our mushrooms at market. Markets are the best place to begin. Gotcha. This small print makes it difficult. Yes, that's the best advice I can give. I'm not sure that it's the correct advice. I'm glad that you agree. Uh, you know, it's interesting because I started the mushrooms because I wanted it to be a foundational project to go learn, make mistakes, and then mushrooms, much like they are in nature, would be the foundation from which the fertility would grow. My friends can start businesses based off it. Samantha's doing her artwork. Ben's been building you guys baggers and working on machines and stuff, and he'll be quitting his day job this calendar year and coming online full time with us. I've got another friend who started a business, and he and I are able to talk business back and forth because I've made all the worst mistakes already, and I can tell him what to avoid. And that's the way I like to go. Plus, anytime we can do business with each other, we try to do that to keep the money floating around in the system for just a little bit longer before it leaves. So, and I think that starting at markets is a good place to cut your teeth and learn those first mistakes. And it's a very forgiving place to learn mistakes. Plus, you get to hang out with other farmers, commiserate about the crops and the seasons and the years. And it'll be funny. People will be talking about the winter time as if it's terrible, and you'll be like secretly thinking to yourself, "Man, the winter time's the best," unless you're like in Canada. And then I think that's your hardest growing season. But translation, Mr. Tony, your videos helped me a lot in certain things. Thanks. Hey, absolutely, Tony. You're very welcome. And thank you, Ray J, for doing that translation for me. Hello there. I started a mushroom farm. We finished in 1 month. Hey, congratulations, man. Happy hairy hard-on, to be clear, we were talking about. What? All right, I'm going to skip that part of the comment. Benjamin, no. Okay. I'm glad you're going to post this vid. I can't keep up with my note-taking. Yeah, I know, right? It's I can barely keep up with the questions. We got almost 70 people in here. This for a test live stream. It's not too bad. Love mycology. Love the sharing of information, and good luck in your ventures. Thank you. You too, Anon. I like your picture. If that's what I think it is. Goddesses. Got it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see that video. Keep looking. Absolutely. It'll go live in within this week, is my understanding. Yagdrasil, do you know of any mushroom farms in South Florida? You said I saw one once, but I don't know if they still exist. I don't even remember the name. I know some mushroom farms in Florida. I don't know Florida very well as to what is north and Panhandle. I mean, I know what the different sections are, but I don't know the mushroom farmers and where they're at. I'm trying to remember the name of the cities. I can't remember it, but I've only been to Florida once, and I hated it. But it was because I was flown by helicopter to a hospital. Just flown from boot camp in South Carolina to the hospital in just in northern Florida. So that's the only experience I've got with Florida. So I don't know much about it. Are you still happy with the ultrasonic? Yes, I am absolutely 100% happy with the ultrasonic humidification. I think there's a steep learning curve in the beginning to it. I think I went through a few units before we finally figured out that you really need that big bin, the big reservoir. You want cool air blowing over it. We burned out a few units when we first started years ago, but our units now are lasting a year or more for the past 2 or 3 years. And John over there at House of Hydro has got some of the best customer service I've ever come across. Use code Mossy. Make sure you do that. Give me my kickback. John Broadhead is a really good guy. I like to support his business. He's a vet, and he's got the work ethic of one. So, and the customer service is, like I said, fantastic. Like anytime I've ever had a problem, you go ask him, and he'll tell you whatever he knows. It's hard to get that kind of honesty sometimes with businesses. Getting into third year on growing mushrooms in Fairbanks, Alaska. Figure some cold weather strains already. I was hoping you could recommend any strains you can. Yeah, sure, Pato. I grow any kind of tree oyster is going to do well in cooler weather. Some of them are slated more warm weather, but they tend to have usually the warm weather oysters just have a greater range that they grow in on the high end, but they'll still grow just fine in the cool weather. I try to keep my room around 65, but I've grown in 50 to 55 before, and tree oysters just continually kick out, and they tend to turn like dark black colored for the blue oysters, so that's a good way to go. Real quick, I just want to go back and for the ultrasonic humidification, Kathy. There's a reason why I like it beyond the fact that I like John and the customer service. the particulate size of the fog is way smaller than it is on any high pressure, low pressure misting systems for the most part, or even the centrifuge systems. Um, it carries over on the air a lot easier. There's very little plumbing you have to do. It is more just piping for like ventilation work. Ventilation work is much easier for beginners than plumbing is for the most part, unless you already have that skill set. Um, Not that plumbing's like super difficult either; it's pretty straightforward. But that small particulate size of the water is mushrooms can actually draw that up directly. There's a certain particulate size, like fog and everything else, where mushrooms can bring that in, and it will actually allow you to have larger flushes because the mushrooms are able to just take up that water. You came across that like cold weather. Oh, that I came across that like cold weather. Yeah, so like I was saying about the blue oysters are good. Our King Blue is a really good one to go. Pathfinder. Um, Pretty much any of the ones I grow are cool weather, except for the pink oysters. We'll be trialing the milky mushrooms this year. I've grown patty straw before, and what else is a hot weather one I've done? The Elm Z is supposed to be a warm weather one, but I've grown it at like 55, and it actually grew in really well. So, but I haven't grown anything like down into the freezing weather except outside on logs, and that's not ideal. Um, Yeah, even do trades at farmers markets. I assume also. Yeah, so that was the one of the best things to do was to go to the market, and anything we had left over, we could go trade it for any vegetables we need. So we didn't. It even lowered our grocery bill going to market because I could go. We would go buy these cherry hand pies from the cherry was my favorite at least from VG's Bakery, and eat that, and we get coffee from Three Bears Coffee, which you can order online now. Three Bears Coffee was amazing. He has direct links to people in South America, and they bring them up and he roasts them. He used to come to market in a gypsy cart. I think he's still doing it. And I would trade stuff with him for coffee and vegetables. Tomato season was always one of my favorites because I love tomatoes and peppers. So, just trading around hot sauces, that kind of stuff. I mean, I got all kinds of cool stuff at market. Oftentimes, back when we were going to market, even Christmas presents for most of my family would come from there and come from trades. And we were able to get cool pottery and cool, unique items that you couldn't get anywhere else. It was definitely really nice. I miss doing farmers markets. We've been thinking about doing it again, just because we miss doing that weekly thing. Gainesville. Is that Gainesville, Florida? How much do farmers markets charge you for selling a spot? So ours was more expensive. I think by the end of it, we were paying $20 or $30 a day. I wanted a truck space because Samantha was going alone. I didn't want her to have to walk into a parking garage, so I was like, I'll just pay extra, so that way she never has to leave the car. She never has to go anywhere and potentially get robbed because people will hang out there and they'll see if people were robbed at the farmer's market because, you're carrying cash and they're seeing you just taking cash all day long. So the truck spot was like, you could have a spot and then it was double to have a truck spot. So I think it came out to like, it was either $20 or $30 a day. I can't remember. One at the St. Augustine. Don't know what that means. Hi, is it possible to create a new strain of mushroom? Absolutely. It's very easy. Every time you grow from spores, you create a new mushroom, new strain of mushrooms. That's the goddesses. Thank you for your service. Army vet here. Well, hey, thank you for your service. In all frankness here, I was in boot camp. I am not a vet. I had a medical discharge. So that trip to the hospital was about the end of my military career. I always wanted to go do it. My family's got a long-standing history of military service, but the Marines was just a bit hard on my lungs and asthma. So I really appreciate that. I wish I could have been a Marine. I really respect them, and so that chapter of my life is closed. Your channel has exploded. Yeah. This internet is a great tool. In the rustic days, you would have had to research and beat your head against the block. Yeah, so that's actually Michael Lee. That's a very good point. In the early days when I first started, there was very little information. It was mainly the shroomery. It was mainly the shroom growers that we were getting our information from. And then I finally grew enough that I was able to buy the books by Paul Stamets, and those were great, though very, very technical. And he likes to talk about ideal situations, which wasn't my situation. So I had to take what I could and then leave the rest. And what's funny is going back and I've reread Paul Stamets' books just recently. And Palo salmon gets a lot of kind of a bad rap amongst mushroom growers. People get started and they love palo salmon, and then they get growing, and all of a sudden they turn and they hate them. And I don't think that that's the proper response. We need to have a lot of respect for a guy who brought mushrooms to the masses, and he took a lot of the trade secrets and brought them out to people. So, yeah, whatever you think about him, there's that. But he really allowed me to get started whenever no one else really could, because it was books, it wasn't internet. You didn't have channels, and you didn't have Myers mushrooms, Moss Creek mushrooms. We were Reed's mushrooms back then, and you didn't have T.R. Davis from Earth Angels. Earth Angel mushrooms, Brian Callow of What the Fungus. You didn't have Oakum Spore, which only existed a year ago. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. Like there's a whole slew of channels to get started now, and I think that is great, because as soon as we open source this stuff, I'm actually going to be doing some videos on open source methodology, where it came from, homesteading the noosphere, the bazaar and the cathedral, those kinds of things. Because, man, guys, we're about to crack this stuff wide open. So I love the internet, because it's just made all of us a network, just a node on the network. And now we get to know everything that every other node does almost. And the guys who are keeping that information close at heart, they are working, learning, and not sharing. They're going to have a bad time later on. Like, I've seen it time and time again. Those who don't share don't last. Do you prefer to eat mushrooms raw or when they are cooked? I don't eat mushrooms raw, ever. Hello from Ohio. Been watching your videos for a while. Learned a lot. Thanks. Hey, thank you for watching, and you're very welcome. I hope that I can be of more use to you. Can you inoculate straight into substrate to colonize the fruit, or is it a necessity for grains on substrate? So you can go from agar very easily to substrate, but if you're going for liquid culture, I tend to have stall out really badly unless I've got grain, like a grain pocket. I am working on a way that I can go straight to substrate. I'm sure somebody in here has had experience with this, so to where they actually have had more success. And I don't know if I'm just not using enough liquid culture. If I've got, that's where I'm using steam pasteurization rather than sterilization. I haven't done enough tests on it yet, but I hope to. But grain is working right now, and I need what works to really get caught up on my back orders and stuff. Cooking mushrooms releases more nutrients. Your stomach has a hard time digesting raw mushrooms, wasting potential nutrient uptake and becoming and burning more energy to digest. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly why I don't eat raw mushrooms. Would you see any issue with blowing your ventilation into sizable adjacent greenhouse that would benefit? Ooh, there's a big jump there. Sizable adjacent greenhouse that would benefit from the CO2. The concern is the spores. So filtering the spores is a huge hassle. Now, there are reusable filters that I think are washable. And if you can use those and just make it a thing where you're spraying those off 2 or 3 times a day, I mean, yeah, it's got to be 2 or 3 times a day at least. We put a fan in, and like the next hour, it's coated in spores, when we're doing that. So filtration is not great, in my opinion. I have thought about running the air through water or through a cold room, so it'll cold crash and maybe the spores will fall out like a cold airlock before going into it. I haven't tested any of these things, so please don't take this as gospel. But I'm hoping that there's a way to do it, because I think that it would be good. But my guess is that if you're wanting CO2 into your greenhouses, the best place to go to pull from is incubation and not the grow room. Just throw away the grow room air and just pull straight from incubation. You're getting most of your CO2 production during incubation anyways. Hello. I don't read the squiggly line writing. I'm assuming it's Arabic, but I don't know what that means. So, but hello to you. I hope that you don't take offense that I can't read that. Oyster mushroom, dada. What does dada mean? Michael Lee, your comment got flagged for review for some reason. Oh, let me show it. Okay, yeah, ultrasonic is great, but one idea for beginner pond foggers is the way to go at first, coupled with Eric Myers total humidifier. So the pond fogger is just an ultrasonic humidifier. I mean, it's just a type of ultrasonic typically, unless you're talking about a variety I don't know about. With such a variety that you grow, do your chefs like that, or do they prefer a consistent variety to put on this menu? So I have found that my chefs seem like they like variety. Most chefs have a preference, and I take preferences, but I explain to my chefs, especially for the weekly orders, early on when I get them, that I grow variety, and give me your preference, and I'll match it as close as possible. But if I can't, I'm going to pull from something else. That way I can dedicate myself to you and you will always have mushrooms, and you'll always have good quality mushrooms. It may not be exactly what you want, but it'll be there. And most of my chefs are very flexible with that. There are a couple that are I've got a pizzeria that they really need small mushrooms. They like to have that presentation, so I always try to give them stuff that is small, easy to work with, and not the big fleshy. So they don't like kings. Kings don't. You can imagine in a pizza, you're not getting enough cook time. So hold on. Oh, goddesses, thank you again. My goodness, darling. What is your Patreon? It's just Mossy Creek Mushrooms on Patreon. I am known as Myco Mama on there. Would like to follow on there too. Okay, yeah, great. I'm just Mossy Creek Mushrooms. I'll get on there and see if I can follow you on Myco Mama. Thank you, darling. I really appreciate that. Let me go back up there. Just so you guys know that with the super chat stuff, I always try to prioritize that. Please don't get offended if I skip you to go to someone who's paid to have their question bumped. James, if that didn't answer your question about the variety, please let me know. I hope that it did. Ray J, what is the one for now book that you would recommend as a first read for an absolute beginner? Okay, so trick question. You should always start out with Mossy Creek Mushrooms YouTube channel. But beyond that, Radical Mycology by Peter McCoy is probably the best general look at mushroom growing that I have seen. There are some politics in it that, he doesn't really go straight up into politics, but, I hate it when people call the mushroom kingdom the mushroom queendom. It just bothers me. And it's just we already have, you're just jumbling the language. Let's make it simple. It's already hard enough to get into this stuff. Let's not start changing words willy-nilly. At the same time, it's such a minor pet peeve that whatever, just read it and just enjoy it. It's a great overall view. There's a lot in there, a lot. And so because there's so much in that book, it's kind of hard. Newcomers might get a little they might get paralysis by analysis looking at just all the stuff that exists there. So just read it. Just, skip over it. Skip over anything that you don't need to know yet, and just learn. Peter is a smart guy. So, and that book is amazing. I used to say Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms by Paul Stamets, but a lot of that information is some of it's outdated and some of it's not ideal, or where he focuses on ideal. And Peter McCoy really focuses on, us, people who are working in non-ideal circumstances. That said, if you can get I own all of Paul Stamets' books. At least all the ones I know about. That's also, Paul Stamets is also where I learned from that my favorite novel, Dune, was written by Frank Herbert, who he was writing about mushroom trips. So just a little piece of information there. But I thought it was interesting that Paul met Frank Herbert, who was one of my favorite writers. Let's see. We look up Funky Fungi. Yes, Funky Fungi. I miss her. I miss her a lot. Jewel was a great resource for this community. I really wish that things had gone better for her. It actually worked out best for her. She told me later on that it actually worked out for the best. She had some stuff going on that she didn't know was going on until after it, so it seemed like the worst thing in the world, and then it ended up being one of the best things in the world for her. So it's good for her. Sorry for the community. Hey, Mossy Creek watching from Zambia. Hey, welcome, man. Oh my gosh, we're in Africa now too. Have you tried inoculating substrate with BRF rather than grain? BRF is brown rice flour. No, I haven't. I have not tried that. Flour might be kind of hard to break up and then pass in there. You have a great channel, info, and fam. Really motivated to start and get the ball rolling on my mushroom farm. Keep it up. Yeah, Daniel, thank you for watching, and you're very welcome. I hope we end up being a good use to you. Your thoughts on high-pressure water misters and considering this inside my ducting? I don't like them. I've been to ops that have some of the big ops, some of the ones you guys know from YouTube, that have some high-pressure misting systems. I was not impressed with the water on the floor. Water on the floor is a great way to get bacteria growth. Now that said, it's not it doesn't mean you can't use one, because he was using it just fine. He just had a lot of contamination problems that I don't have with the ultrasonic misting system, because we clean our reservoir regularly. And it's so easy to clean it's much easier to clean ventilation, than your plumbing and your visitor heads. How are restaurants liking the golden enoki? They loved them. I need more. I need a lot more grown. I'm having a hard time producing enough spawn to keep up with the demand. Adding to previous question, any audiobook recommendations for starters? So not on mushroom growers, but audiobook for farmers would be The Lean Farm. And I can't remember who wrote that all of a sudden. Sorry. But The Lean Farm was my business really started taking off when I read that book and practiced what it preached. So that right there will teach you most of what you need to know in manufacturing or farming. Like, he just takes manufacturing concepts and puts it to farming, and the simplicity, the things I preach, systems and standardizations and everything, like removing impediment to action, removing your junk. It was hard for me. Like, I don't know. I never realized that I had a hard time letting junk go until we started just like throwing away trash from the farm. If it hadn't been used in the calendar year, we were throwing it away. And it was a little difficult for me. And then I realized that, my family's had kind of problems letting stuff go like that for a while. But learning to throw things away is a superpower. It's just absolutely a superpower. And I learned that in part from that book, in part from Ben. Owen, I don't know what that means. Your hard work and ingenuity is a huge inspiration. Keeps on culture, Matt. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that we've been an inspiration. That kind of blows me away that I'm an inspiration. I'm just muddling through this stuff, man. But thank you very much. Like, those words mean a lot to me. Like, it's an emotional thing running a YouTube channel. Amazon affiliate link to the book. I don't have one set up yet. Maybe Robin will get one set up. I'll talk to her about it. We've already got our Amazon affiliate stuff set up. So I've actually got a brewing one coming up where I talk about my mushroom mead. So when that video comes up, I need to get Robin those links. Hey, Robin, if you're still watching, I'll get those to you. Where I go through how I make my cooking mead for it's called Forest Dwellers Mead, and we use mushrooms and all kinds of other stuff, and like garlic and things, and it's just one of the best things to add. Like, I add it to my chili, I use it to deglaze pans. It's usually pretty alcoholic, so it deglazes really well. But we have affiliate links set up for that stuff as well, and I'm trying to get it to it. Salt and Cracker retracted your message. Didn't know she wasn't growing anymore. I'm out of touch. Hey, Quasi, that's fine. Yeah, she's not. I love her channel. Things really took off when she got into the Commercial Mushroom Growers Network and started learning the tips and tricks that they had reached out there. The Commercial Mushroom Growers Network is they still have a lot of good stuff going on. It's really more of a social club at this point, but there's a lot of really cool information still there, and archive there is great. So, greetings from Germany. Hey, guten Tag. That's about all I remember from my 3 years of German. I remember Danke and Bitteschön. I wish I remembered more. I wish that I knew German. It says Mossback Mushrooms on Patreon. Oh, it's the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate. I apologize. You're right. It's not Mossy Creek Mushrooms. It is the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate. That's same on our Facebook. Our Facebook group is called the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate because we are a syndicate of people all going to spread the love of mushrooms. Have you ever gotten behind on producing mushrooms where you didn't have enough mushrooms to cover all your customers? Yes. And that is just early and often communication as best as possible. I get overwhelmed really easily with communication, and so I'm not the best at this. But, yeah, absolutely I've been behind. And it happens, and it's a painful experience. You man, I just came across you and loved it. Oh, thanks. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate being called fire. Thanks for your content. I've started growing oysters at home in my apartment with great success. Such a fun hobby and possible future business. Hey, even if it stays at the level of hobby, it is amazing experiences. After working with fungi for so long, it starts to shape your worldview. You start seeing things through like a mycelial lens, so to speak. So I really enjoy it. Ben, it really is hard for me to talk to people when you're like staring at me creepily. Hey, it's Ben. Let's see.
Man, this is a terrible setup for a live stream.
It is a terrible setup for a live stream. This was supposed to be a test, and then
everybody got on.
Hanging out.
What's going on, guys?
Yep. Let's see.
So you actually get any lab work done, or is this just become?
No, I actually had to turn
just become a hangout.
It's just become a hangout session. I had to turn the back to zap down on low so it wouldn't overcook.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Watching you build bags and work with liquid culture were super helpful. Hey, that's great. Thanks. So something that I've had a lot of comments on, we actually have a huge drop off. As soon as B-roll starts on our videos, people drop off. I wish that wasn't so because those are the most fun segments to make. But there's also a lot of, like, you get to see things from different angles. And
yeah, the fact of the matter is we make videos for us.
That's true. We
so
really
if
do.
you guys like them, that's great. If not, you know,
as always,
B-roll's fun.
Ben is to the point.
Hey, Rayleigh, how's it going?
Let's see, where we at? Is liquid culture as good? I know it's hard, man. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff. Is liquid culture
we
as
need
good
like
as
a second monitor or something set up with just the live chat on it.
So we've actually talked about. Robin and I talked about a little bit of this. She's want to set up like a whole live stream command center kind of thing and feed us the questions so we don't. have to,
that would be.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Yeah.
So where are we actually at?
Is liquid culture as good as grain spawn on the whole?
No. And yes.
And yes.
So it's a different tool, and it has different properties. It doesn't seem to go into fruiting blocks very well.
Yeah.
Is our
it's
experience.
Like it'll grow sometimes for a little bit and then stall out.
But it makes great grain spawn. So it's a good intermediate step. You get very rapid expansion in the liquid.
And the grain spawn grows in faster.
But going straight to fruiting substrate, no bueno. I know some people have done it, but we haven't got it to work very reliably.
Yep. Goddess Studio says, I found it. Thank Goddess. I just became a Moss back. Look forward to. Hey, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Yeah, thank you very much. We love having you guys. Teaching is actually the thing that I think I enjoy the most about this business. So kind of weird that I started growing mushrooms and then I enjoy hanging out with people more. Austin says, Danny, I think it's best to use liquid culture to make grain spawn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
And Goddesses, Ray J's looking for your Patreon. He's having a hard time finding it. Saltine Cracker, I'm going to start a channel on YouTube and call it Ben's Beard. I know. It's so much more impressive than mine. And I've been growing mine longer. Not longer in length, but longer over a period of time. Ben is a beard god.
Yeah, but Andrew has better hair.
I do have better hair. This is very true, as you can see.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You do what you do.
Hi, Ben. Oh, you already said hi to Rachel.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your next cooking mushroom video. So the next one is the meat video that's coming out. As you said, I recall one you did in the past, putting sausage in a big cluster and smoke it, and my mouth just waters thinking about it. Yeah, that thing, smoked mushrooms. I should do some more smoking videos. Okay, yeah, we'll smoke some more mushrooms, yeah. Share your Spotify. Love your taste in music. Where did you hear my music, Ray J?
Probably on your videos.
Oh, that music. So that music is not everything that's on my list. That stuff is stuff that I have the license to use through Epidemic Sound. But I do always try to pick stuff that I listen to. So I will share my Spotify at some point. It's actually my wife's Spotify. She and I just share an account. But I will share that. I don't remember the name of it. Can liquid culture replace petri dish cultures, and what are the advantages of both? So, do you want to take this or you want me to?
You're the lab guy,
okay.
So I'll let you take it.
So, in my opinion, you can't replace agar entirely.
Again, it's a different tool set. It's like liquid culture and grain, liquid culture and agar dishes. They each have their own strengths and weaknesses. Liquid culture is for rapid expansion, but you can't do any cleanup work. Right. So for culture retention or cleaning up a infected culture, you're not going to do that in liquid culture. No. Period. If you have a problem with it, then that liquid culture is toast.
Bacteria have the advantage in a 3D space.
Yeah. Whereas on the plate, that's where you're able to do your sectional work and select the clean tissue. And
yeah, you'll see it like on a dish. You'll be growing, and you'll have your mycelium growing out, and there'll be bacteria on this side, and you can select for this side, and bam, now you've transferred it. Your culture's cleaned up. With liquid culture, there's no way to do that, as Ben was saying, because you're constantly stirring it, and then bacteria or yeast or anything else just bud in the water. They attach to every surface. There's no way to really select for something that doesn't have that bacterial tissue on it. You are an inspiration. We are starting a mushroom farm in Missouri. Well, thank you. It's like I said, it's always weird for me to be called an inspiration. Like we're just muddling through. But thank you, Ben. You inspire me. Like just the whole thing. Yeah. But yeah, like I thank you very much for that. That's kind words. It means a lot to me that we're so useful to people. So, I want to see a cooking video about the king mushrooms you talked about. Okay, I'll do that. I'll absolutely do that. We'll hollow out some kings and do some roasted stuffed kings. Yep, Ben said it. Yes,
I generally do.
He generally does. Goddesses says at Ray J, it's called Myco Mama. Not much on there yet. So it's a one word, Myco Mama. Tony P, how much LC would you use on a 4.5 pound spawn bag? Currently in the need of 30 bags each week. 30 milliliters seems to go somewhat slow. So I actually find that I have the best results in a 5 pound bag with about 10 milliliters of liquid culture. Weirdly enough, so far in my 1 pound grain master is about 10 milliliters is about the key. Anything more than that, it seems to be too wet and slows growth down. Anything less than that, and agar seems to usually grow it like in a full agar dish seems to win out there. So somebody's asked me to do a video side by side and like do a growth of agar in grain and liquid culture in grain to show you guys which one's like just so you can see it side by side. I plan on doing that.
Now we have discussed adding some sawdust and soy pellets in the spawn bags to absorb some of the extra liquid from the liquid culture, but that's not an experiment we've done yet. So I don't really have any experience on that, but it seems to me if you can put something in there to absorb some of it, maybe vermiculite or whatever the heck.
Yeah, I think that's what Flyway uses.
Then that should reduce the issue of excess moisture, and I think you get the better growth without the sogginess that stops it in the bottom of the bag.
Yeah, but
don't know for sure. So.
Yeah, that's just all theory so far, but that's something we've talked about a lot. We're always trying to figure out new ways to use liquid culture now. Danny says, love it. Thanks a lot, lads. How long can you keep a culture in Petri dish if you keep transferring to new dish every time there is an infection? Theoretically forever, or is there a limit? So,
enzyme blindness.
Enzyme blindness is a thing. It's mushroom diabetes. It's basically if you only feed your mushrooms sugar constantly, they will only recognize how to break down sugar for a certain amount of time. They'll stop producing their own through like wood and everything else. So when you add them to a substrate that is low in sugar, they no longer can figure out how to, they kind of go, you can retrain it. It takes time, but from my understanding, people who have done this find that it never really bounces back. So it's a good idea oftentimes to kind of give it wood to grow on. So I can actually do a water agar. It's just agar and water, and then you can add wood to it, and there you go. That's what the mushroom will need. And I have played around with doing my masters this way, but I find that the sugar ones work out really, really well. So you just don't want to go forever. Mushrooms don't age the way we age, but they do develop that enzyme blindness. So theoretically forever. Thanks all. You're generous with everything you know. Much appreciated. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for watching and building this channel with us. Watching from the Philippines. Man, we've had Hungary on here, Poland, the UK, England, and then Scotland, New Zealand. Oaken Spore's been on here too.
Yeah, I saw.
Cool. Oh, did you? Okay.
Saw that.
Man,
yeah, I was pretty stoked. Hey, Oaken Spore, I just saw your videos, a couple days ago?
Yep.
I was pretty stoked. I like your setup.
Yeah, that's about the first time I really got on there with him too. So, gosh, I can't even remember. We've got the Philippines. We've had
Michigan.
I know, which is like a foreign country. Like,
they
basically speak another language.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Please tell your wife that she could make more merch with her wonderful art, enamel pins, stickers.
She is working on it.
Yep, she's actually starting a little. She and Ben are working together. Ben,
we are not working together.
No, they're not working together. Sorry,
we're competing against each other.
They're competing against each other. Hey, would you go get your?
Not even true.
Would you go get your piece? Would you mind if I show that on the live stream?
Sure.
Oh, you would mind. Sure, I would mind, or sure I wouldn't mind.
it would be really awkward to get it in the frame.
All right, we'll do it later, I guess.
Yeah.
But yes, Ray J, we're planning on it for sure. So there's some Myco merch coming, some big time stuff. Tony P says, got it. Using oats at the moment, and it surely takes some time with 30 milliliters. Yeah, try backing off a little bit, or you can even do the test for us and buffer with something that will absorb that moisture, and tell us how it goes, please. Let's see, Joe Choi says, "Oh, hey, Joe."
Who's this?
Joe Choi. He's been following us for a while.
Okay.
Hardwood fuel pellets do help absorb excess water in spawn bags. You only need a couple pellets.
Okay. Yeah, so there's some input on that.
Yep. T. Walker, how do you feel about adding gypsum to Masters Mix substrates? Any benefit or not? So this was a big thing for a long time, and I've seen people still doing it. I've never done it. I don't find it necessary.
Yeah, one of the big things about how we produce is we focus on simple systems that enable us to not necessarily maximize the output of each individual part.
Right.
So it might actually be beneficial, but it's not a big enough difference to be worth the added complexity in the production process.
Right. So for example, if I may, people talk a lot about like 5-pound bags produce more poundage of mushroom per pound of substrate in the bag than our 12-pound bags do. That is correct.
But you have to make twice as many bags, and so your labor increases. And that's the biggest thing that we focused on early, and we continue to focus on, is labor is the killer.
Yeah.
My time is very valuable. Andrew's time is very valuable. So we're donating this to you guys. So feel very privileged. This was supposed to just be a test, but you know, whatever. You guys are cool to
it's
hang
turned
out.
into almost a 2-hour live stream. So.
But then you can cut the time that it takes to make a bag, or even cut the difficulty of it. Then that's where I focus on first.
Yep.
But having the two inputs is very simple with the bagger that we've made, and so it doesn't add any complexity. But if we tried to add the additional material, then that adds that much more that we have to keep up with.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be any problem with designing it into the bagger itself, if that's a thing, but it's not something that I've played with yet.
Yeah. And so to go back to the gypsum question, I've heard from people that it speeds things up or that it reduces contamination. I haven't seen people who use any sort of gypsum or lime or anything actually have reduced contamination from it. We lose about 10% on average throughout the year of our crop due to contamination. That's pretty consistent across the board for the lime farms and the non-lime farms. So I don't actually see any benefit to it. But I will say, in East Tennessee, we have some of the hardest water in the country. So maybe we're adding the lime in the water and we just don't realize it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case, but
yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
yeah, I don't either. So
Aquavitify says Ireland.
Hey.
Excellent.
I'm Scots-Irish. I don't think that means I have any Irish blood in me, but probably not. It means that my people were probably brought over to oppress you. But, you're welcome.
Good job, Andrew.
I'm terrible. Ogun Spore says, thanks. Hey. We got North Dakota in the house. Awesome, guys. Where'd you
A
go?
bunch of ours.
Heck yeah. Oh. What just happened?
I don't know.
Did somebody get flagged?
Might have been removed.
Okay. You need to go eat. Yes, I do, Ray J. Thank you very much for reminding me. I'll go for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to go eat. We'll call it a 2-hour live stream. North Carolina. Oh, hey, Goddesses. That means you're not far from us, then. Yeah.
And Texas.
Texas. Love Texas. We got... oh, hey. James Morgan, thank you very much for the pay, man. I will call you our number one fan. Thank you very much, man. That means a lot to us. Let me scroll back up here to the questions. Evergrow Cordyceps militaris. So, Paul, you probably missed this earlier. Hey, it's Samantha. Hey, baby. Yeah, I know. Look, we got like 75 people, and this was supposed to be a test. Yeah. Now the live stream numbers will go up. Paul, as far as the Cordyceps militaris goes, I don't know anything about it. I've tried to grow it once and I failed, and then I got William Padilla Brown's book on it, and I've not tried it since. I want to desperately so, but I just don't have the time with all the other projects I've got right now.
I can't read the stream from his.
William Padilla Brown's company is Apex Mushrooms, I think, and then you have,
Give it a shout out to everybody.
and then Ryan Paul Gates also is a good cordyceps grower. So both of them focus on good genetics, breeding, and everything else. They're very good. Alex Dorr of Mushroom Revival grows it. I don't know if he shares the way he grows it or anything else. I don't know much about it. I like Alex when I met him online. I have not met him in person, so I really can't say much more than that. Hey, Whitney from Texas. So we got San Antonio, and then we've got someone from Whitney. I know it's cool, right? Like, we actually get to talk to people in real time. Well, as real time as I can read and answer. Yeah.
Right.
The one having the key says, is 1 pound of grain spawn and 1 pound of manure-based substrate adequate enough for proper growth? I don't know what you're growing. I don't know. It sounds like overkill to me if your substrate is sterilized and your mushroom growing is a fast grower. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, I tend to stay away from those questions on my channel and in general. Tennessee's a very, very conservative state.
Liverpool, United Kingdom.
Yeah, we've had people from Scotland, Poland, Hungary, Zambia, Philippines,
Such a beautiful
Michigan.
thing to be
Yeah.
able to see.
Right.
Just how.
Yeah, T. Walker, you're very welcome. Holly Clan says, can you teach me more on culture, age, and expiration sometime? Sure, we'll do some videos on it at some point. Yeah, I can do that. Hey, Joe, hard water is adding the calcium and micronutrients to the mix. Yeah, that's possible. We've done RO water bags, and they grew in just fine. So I don't know what to tell you, but and Heathen's been following us for a while. He says he's from Liverpool, UK. What?
I'm telling you loads about you, Samantha. You guys are gonna make me shy and run away. Quit.
I'm not down there yet. No problem. You're making up for the impression now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, right. Free information should make up for it some. Hugs from Liverpool. Hey, thanks. Hugs back from Jeff County, from Mossy Creek. Let's see. Love your channel. I'm down in Bama. Hey, that's the Rocket Corridor, right? Or are you in that part? I actually went and stayed. Ben's parents live down in Alabama. We went and lived with them for a little bit. I know a Feeny. What's a Feeny? Is that a UK thing? Oh, by the way, congratulations on Brexit, guys. Or is that, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We've been talking loads about you, Samantha. Yes, we actually have, Samantha. We have been talking about all the moss backs. Oh no! And it jumps like it does this. It'll jump down. And I won't. Oh, we got some from Algeria too. Welcome. Sounds good. Thanks. Going to give it a try. Yeah, Paul. I don't remember what we talked about, but you're welcome. Peace out, Ben.
You want your phone, or you don't leave it?
Thanks for the video. Very helpful. I will join more of your live chats in the future. Zambia, dude. Well, thanks, Zambia. I really like it. Or how do I say this? Kabas? Is that the proper way to say it? Tell me if I told it wrong. Austriatus grows best on corn cob holes. So I've not tried that, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about corn. Iowa may as well be another country. Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, for sure. Though I think Iowa's. You're probably more Tennessee than you think. It says, hello, bro. If in your area it was impossible to find soy holes, what would you recommend to a great mix like Master's Mix? So if you can't find them and they're impossible, well, first let me answer this. Go to your farmer's co-op. Tell them that you're going to be a regular client. Don't try to inflate how much you're going to buy. Just tell them the honest truth, because let me tell you, if you're buying 1 bag a week, that's usually enough for them to hold a pallet for you. Samantha goes and negotiates with them and stuff and talks about a lot like, hey, will you guys please hold? She's got multiple co-ops holding sawdust for us, multiple places holding soy for us. That's because we had a big scare one time, and Samantha, but there's a big scare. Samantha goes into just like mayhem mode and just like drives until that will never happen again. So, yeah, she's like a hound like that. She gets a scent of danger and it's done. Now, to answer your actual question, if you can't get materials from Master's Mix, which is common for our northern friends, I Alfalfa pellets are good. I've heard it 80-20 mix, so 80% sawdust, 20% alfalfa. 16% I've heard is a little bit better. So the math's a little bit harder on that, but you might look into that. You can also use wheat bran. 40% wheat bran, 60% sawdust mix worked really well for us for a while. Hey, we got someone from Portugal. That's right, KC. I forgot. You and I've talked quite a bit. Yeah.
Just do a map.
Hey, if anybody knows how to do a digital map where we can put the pins on there, let me know. We should do that and get a Mossback Syndicate map up. Got to go soon, too, but I really appreciate the time you all put into these video streams. Ben is making some noise out there. You have helped me no end. You're all saints. Love from Scottish Highlands. Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you watching with us, building this channel. I hate that you have to go, but I'll be going soon, too, so... tune in next time. Salting Cracker, lol, Iowa here as well. That's crazy. So maybe you two can get together and talk mushrooms. And then we have 6934 weeks says, hope you guys post a DIY on that grain bagger. So we actually don't have a grain bagger. We do grain by hand, but the substrate bagger for sure. We're gonna do a DIY project on it. Or Ben's working on that stuff now. And Tuscaloosa. Where is Tuscaloosa? I don't know where that's at.
I don't
Brexit, Feeney, a surname. Oh, okay. Feeney's a surname. I got you. Brexit's good. Feeney's a surname.
Say on the grain, it's kind of hard to do that in sort of an automated thing. So you have to rinse them and they're wet and they're.
That's true.
Yeah, by hand is really truly.
I think Eric Myers made an automated mushroom bagger or for grain spawn, but that's old, and that may have been on his old channel that got taken down. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can
reach
look it
out
up.
to him about,
Yeah. When you create does this say LI or LC? Do you use do you inoculate a test plate? Yes, I inoculate a test plate. And how long do I wait to make sure it's contaminant free? Just until I start seeing bacteria will grow faster, mold will grow faster than mycelium. You start seeing true mycelium, give it a couple of days, it doesn't turn green in the center, you're good to go. Hope to have more of these. Absolutely, we will. This has been one of the most pleasant experiences I've had in a long time. This is great. You guys keep making it pleasant. I'll keep doing this. North Carolina here too, got us some. And this is Wayne Strickland. He's a AF crew chief vet, Air Force crew chief vet. I've been watching this channel for a couple months now, and I'm currently getting my equipment together before I start any grows. Hey man, thanks for watching. And thank you very much for building this channel for us, guys.
Keep building a great community. We will certainly try. You guys are definitely a part of that. So
yeah.
For everything.
Absolutely. Is there an optimal time, or when would one know when grain spawn is ready to use? When it's completely grown in, just whenever it's grown in. I've used it whenever there's still a little strip of uninoculated grain in there. You want to use it while it's still running. When it starts getting hard, you can still use it, but it takes longer for the leap off to happen. So I prefer to run it as fast as possible. If you can, when it's like halfway grown in and you know that you're not going to be able to use it quick enough, throw it in the refrigerator. It'll finish growing in while it's in the fridge, and it'll slow it down some for you. I want to be well educated. This is Wayne Strickland. Before I get my first floriculture going, thank you for sharing all this info and inspiring so many. Highest respect for all you do on here. Hey, thank you, man, and that respect right back at you. We appreciate you guys building this channel for us and like joining up and watching and engaging with us. I know it goes fast.
What's the craziest thing you've used for substrate? Rabbit food?
Roaches?
Ew, no.
The kids had hissing cockroaches one time, and they went crazy, so I thought that I would see what would happen if we grew mushrooms on them. It worked. I ate those mushrooms. Wow, look how red she turns. I'm grateful for all you've learned here. Keep building the great community. Hey, you guys are the ones building the community. We're just putting the videos out. Thank you guys for building this.
Thoughts on growing beet pulp?
Well, hold on. I don't know. I'm still up here. What's the craziest thing you have used for substrate? Oh, that's sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I should always pay more attention to you. Yeah, if you read the questions for me, that's great.
Go for it.
Read the question.
So any thoughts on growing beet pulp on Facebook? Someone posted? Okay. Maybe you should read the question.
Any thoughts on growing beet pulp on your Facebook? Someone posted some impressive grows. Not sure what was mixed with the pulp. I live in sugar beet country. People use beet pulp. Yeah, people absolutely use beet pulp, and I think it's a good way to go. I don't know the ratio off the top of my head, so that would require a little bit of either reading on my part or just some experimentation. What size syringes should we use to save spores? So if you're doing spore syringes, I like the 10 milliliter, 10 cc syringes. Center, Alabama, home of Crimson Tide. Okay, yeah, cool. I got you. I actually went and watched a Crimson Tide game when I was a kid with my dad. Yeah, absolutely. I always think of Forrest Gump when Alabama is mentioned. Was he from Alabama? I don't remember that.
I don't know much about it.
So I've never used Discord, but I know that it's big, like on Apex and the other gaming communities, and so I've been wanting to look into it. I don't know anything about it, so if someone wants to reach out to me, mosscreekmushrooms@gmail.com, just email me and let me know that you know how to set up a Discord and everything else, and if you want to just let me know or unless it's really easy, but I'll look into that for sure. Let's see. Goddesses says, Wayne Strickland, hit me up if you need anything, Wayne. Jennifer Tallis on Facebook. I mean, it's in the chat, I guess. It's in the chat, so you obviously don't mind. Goddess Elemental on Instagram. Oh, that's right. I was going to follow you, and I forgot to hit the follow button. So I never see morels or chanterelles in fruiting rooms. You won't. They are a mycorrhizal species. They grow with plants, and so they're associated with certain tree species for the most part. Until we figure out how to either simulate that in a artificial environment or find some way to bring that into the artificial environment, we're not going to be able to grow those indoors very well. Now, there are people who do grow some morels, and they're a opportunistic mycorrhizal species, which means that they will grow normally and then they'll opportunistically set up with plants. But I hear the yields are not very good. It's not very common. So, what? Oh, okay. I'll be right there. Goddess Elemental Designer Studios. Thank you, ma'am. I will look for you. If you don't mind. I plan to start growing in the next few months. And I second the Discord. Okay, we'll look into the Discord for sure. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about it, but evidently you guys know more about it than I do. So we'll get that going because I want to go where you guys are. Have you read any research about growing on fruit kernels? I grow in Greece, and the only thing available is straw. I think I will try an olive kernels after they are done being processed. So please share the results of that with us. But yeah, straw is you can grow on straw.
That's what we started on.
That's what we started on.
It is.
I don't like it.
We call it hell so straight.
We haven't grown on straw in years, and Ben found straw in his wallet the other day.
Yep.
I found straw in my pocket for my jacket, and I was like, what?
It is dusty. Definitely invest in some PPE for sure.
Yeah.
No matter what, invest in PPE. The personal protection equipment, that stuff we got, I don't know how many sinus infections from the dust on that. That was intense. So just be careful and take care of yourself for sure. So, I don't know his password. Right away.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, Bro Portugal Mushroom Squad. Heck yeah. You guys have multiple guys in Portugal growing mushrooms? I'd love to see all of that stuff. I absolutely want to head out to Portugal one day soon. Do you take new master's strain samples from the mushrooms you grow in order to renew your master's culture? And so here's the thing. Whenever something comes in, I always back it up immediately. I'll make multiple dishes of it. Once it's grown in, I'll start trying to make slants. Once the slants are made up,
Have you seen that whole thing?
I've not done a video on it. We did go over it earlier on the live stream. So we do back it up from there, and we always pull from the freshest, the oldest material that we can to restart a culture. But you can clone from the grow room if you want. I've seen people do that. And when you pick the biggest mushroom with best genetics, does that refine your strain? So typically, picking a mushroom does not refine your strain unless you've done a multi-spore culture, and it's not isolated. But you can see the where it vectors out. Like it'll grow. One will be kind of cottony looking. One will be, you'll see different expressions of mycelium on the agar. When you see that, you can sector it out on that much easier than you can on the mushroom. When you pick from a mushroom, you get a clone of that mushroom. But if you take it from the tissue just above the gills, that's still sterile in the top of the cap. There are a lot of people that say that there's a lot of genetic variation with that. So Goddess and Wayne are talking, so I'll let you guys do that. Have you ever experimented with rice hulls? I recently got my hops in, and they were shipped in rice hulls. I have not. Please do that, and then let me know. I think I've heard of other people doing it, like a lot of people in Asia where rice is more common. Discord, basically an app for phones and PC program website that you can join a chat room and have sections on that same chat for different topics. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, let's do it. I'll let you guys know when that's set up. Thanks, guys. 10 milliliter syringe, what size needle? So Samantha's got this right here.
That says right there in the bottom left.
Yep. It's the 18G by 1.5 inches. So it's 18 gauge, 1.5 inches.
That's hypodermic needles.
It's a hypodermic needle, already bought. It's sterile already.
Yeah,
By the sterile. Also, how long can strains be stored? Basically indefinitely with the proper infrastructure. But even for us, mushrooms don't age the way we do. Like, we have telomeres, so every time our DNA replicates, the telomeres shorten, and over time, that's what causes aging. Mushrooms don't do the same thing, so they don't age. They can develop enzyme blindness, so you want to switch up your substrates regularly. And by regularly, I mean once every year or 2 years, something like that. It's not as it be every day. In Portugal, we are like 5-6 mushroom farmers all across the country. Okay, well, it sounds like you guys are wide open. All hail the spice. Yeah, one. All hail. The spice must flow. Mm-hmm. Ericy, hello. This is Eric. Do you sell pom-pom blank syringes? What is a pom-pom blank syringe? I don't know that one. How long can you store a culture, refrigeration, or freeze? So, as long as the seal holds and the food doesn't run out. So, with culture slants, I use these instead of the test tubes because they're so much thicker around. They cap off easier, a rapid and parafilm. There's a ton of food in here, and it will take forever. Earlier on the live stream, I talked about how I've had this for about 2 years now, and I got this directly from Ryan Paul Gates at Terrestrial Guy. Yeah. And this, I've pulled from this several times already, and then the mycelium just keeps growing in the agar, and it's still clean. So,
see where you disturbed it too.
Yeah, you can. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she's saying that you can see where I cut into it, and then it just keeps growing in. So that right there is, like I said, it's about 2 years old, and it's never been refrigerated, and it's still good. Awesome, really interesting. Oh, you're very welcome, Danny. Why slants? Why not just use agar plates? So the thing about agar plates, I did used to use those and then put them in Ziploc bags. The problem is the parafilm that I would put around them, so it goes bad after a while. Yeah, I mean, I do that. So I sterilize plates and put them in Ziploc bags to store them before I use them. But as far as storing cultures in Petri, you can do that. The parafilm will break a lot of times, and that's how I almost lost the NNG culture that I was talking about earlier, is that the parafilm formed a hole and mold got in there, and it was a pain to clean that up. Sorry, my voice is starting to be lost. Wow, guys, we're actually over 2 hours. I'm going to close this out here in just a second. So I'm very limited with space. I finished my grow room with the help of your other videos. All I want to know is, can I do spawn run in my grow room running oysters on straw? If you're talking about incubation, you can, and we did. And it's not ideal, but you can. I hope that's good enough answer. It is best not to. Particularly if you're growing on straw and you have flies in your grow room. Because they will lay larvae in your bags before they even have a chance.
We tried a few different ways to get around that, and that was to...
Hey, Brian, what's going on, man? Yeah, this was supposed to be a test, man. It turned into a 2-hour live chat. I don't know how that happened. It just blew me away.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
Good answers.
So we got What the Fungus on the channel. Welcome, man. So for you guys that don't know, Brian and I are in some of the same networks of What the Fungus, and I really have a lot of respect for Brian. So if you're not subscribed to What the Fungus, go to What the Fungus and hit subscribe. Brian is one of the most knowledgeable dudes out there. So, okay, I meant lion's mane culture in a syringe. Oh, I don't do lion's mane. Don't grow it. I do comb tooth and I do bear's head.
Both of which I highly recommend.
Yeah.
They smell awesome. They produce really well, and they have good texture and shelf life.
Heck yeah, it's that's good stuff. The comb tooth is sweeter to me. It's meatier than the lion's mane.
We're in the hot, humid south, and lion's mane just doesn't do well.
It kind of goes bad. Like even our comb tooth struggles in the heat. We get this black stuff that grows in it. And
Which is kind of cool.
Samantha was really excited. So there's this black stuff that grows in cone tooth, and it'll drip. And what happened was it dripped down on the floor, and the floor was wet. And it looked like there was this culture, the bacterial culture, or something that started growing across the floor. Because one day there's a little spot, the next day there was this huge spot, and Samantha pressure washed it away, and it stripped all the dirt, the grime from every little pore in the concrete. It just
Not the
cleaned
pressure
the stuff.
washer.
Not the pressure washer, no.
Whatever that was.
Because everything was pressure washed. It was just that.
It was the cleanest,
Sludge
most
that was
beautiful
growing.
spot in the entire room on the floor.
And it didn't tear up the paint on the floor.
No, it didn't. It didn't need paint. It didn't break it down. It just
Yeah.
made a beautiful spot. It did better than the pressure washing.
Hey, Ray J, you're welcome, man. Absolutely. He says from you too, Sam. He wants more from you.
Yeah, I said earlier.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll try. I'll do my expertise.
Absolutely, Aquavitify.
It's like
Pom Pom
hydrogen
Blank
peroxide.
means
We
lime.
talked about that. Yes.
Is Pom Pom Blank like a different language? Like it's from a different language than English, or is that just a colloquial term from somewhere else? Because I've never been familiar with that. Well, thanks, Brian. I appreciate that, man. Oak Spore is your cone tooth risk. Yes, it's coralloides. Well, yes, it's coralloides. So they've been doing some reclassification. It's a big jumbled mess. As far as I know, it's coralloides, and has been there in coralloides for some time. So yeah, it was exactly like hydrogen peroxide, which actually Ben and I were reading about. Mushrooms, when they come in contact with contamination, will actually oftentimes produce hydrogen peroxide as a oxidizer. Sorry, it's not even for contamination. They'll produce this as an oxidizer for breaking down nutrients. I don't remember the study. I'll check it and see if I can find it and share it somewhere, like on the Mossback Network or something, or the Mossback Syndicate. But it was like hydrogen peroxide and how it cleaned. Like, it was really good. So, is it safe to vacuum seal the dishes to help prevent contamination? So I don't think so, because it would rob the mushrooms of any available oxygen that's there. So I don't think it would be. Thank you very much. Yeah, man, we love our community for sure. So we're absolutely happy to share with you guys. Lion's Mane does that as well. Okay, I didn't know that. I've not, like I said, I've grown Lion's Mane. I was just so impressed with cone tooth, particularly this strain that I've got, that I've not gone back. The Bear's Head I really like. I got my Bear's Head from Lenny Rockwell. I don't know where the original source is from, but that one is so amazing. Whenever it starts to brown just a little bit on the top, when it's like it's ready to fruit.
It smells like maple syrup.
It smells like
you
maple
open
syrup.
that box and it's just
It's great. The chefs will go, whoa!
Yeah, it just
like,
has a beautiful smell
yeah.
to it, and that is very impressive. And the taste too, like it's both. But yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I'm almost caught up. If I can get caught up, I'm going to close this down. So
They're gonna flood you.
I
now.
know they're going to flood me. Hello. How can I conserve blue oyster grain spawn for more in a year? Temperature goes up to 40 Celsius. Refrigerate. You can refrigerate it. I don't know how well it'll last for a year or more refrigerated, but
Did you skip that one?
which one?
Is it safe to vacuum seal the dishes?
Yeah, I've already talked about that one.
Okay.
Oh, I did accidentally
Alright.
skip where do you sell your mushrooms and marketing stuff. So I sell my mushrooms to restaurants. We used to start at the market. We actually talked about this earlier in the live stream, so I'll make it quick. But we used to sell at market, and I think it's the best place for people to start because you get the maximum value increase for the work that you do. But when we got on to restaurants, where almost all of our supply was being taken up by restaurant orders that are on our weekly lists, we switched over entirely to restaurants, and then we have an overflow call list whenever we produce more. And that's how we get through a lot of this stuff. It's just that's ended up being the best value increase for us because it gave us our time back. Because once you start growing that many poundage per week, you guys can tell I'm getting tired of it. Whenever you start growing that much poundage per week, you need that day back. You need that Saturday. So, but now that we have employees, so we've grown to the point now where we have employees. Samantha and I are talking about doing market again, so we might do that.
I really enjoyed market. It was a good way to meet everyone.
Yeah,
Answer
and
good
trade for
questions.
good. Like you get groceries you'd never get anywhere else. Like 3 Bears coffee. Oh my gosh, I haven't had 3 Bears coffee in so long.
It gives you good practice on presentation and personal taste preferences too.
Yeah.
Like what people
So-
want.
Oh, sorry. And chefs will come to you. That's what happened to us. Is the chefs came to us We start selling to restaurants, and then the restaurants build. Like at this point, chefs contact us because they see us in other restaurants, and they see our food and are impressed and everything. We'll just turn that off. I've actually not done any lab work yet. these guys they're more interesting. So
Distraction.
Bob says, have you gotten the bagger schematics available yet? I've emailed you concerning them, but I haven't heard back. I'm sorry, like I said earlier in this chat, I'm kind of bad about getting back. I try, but man, you guys, like you can see here, you guys flood me with emails and stuff. I'm trying to.
Yeah, this is just a
do that.
portion. We've got
So Bob,
responses on everything else too.
Yeah.
So just be patient with us, give us some time, and we'll get up there.
absolutely. Ben's working on it. I saw that he's working on it. He's got pictures and everything else. His day job works him into the ground a lot of times, so he's lucky if he's got one day a week to work on it.
We've
They're
got
coming.
someone who's working on an official CAD design.
Yeah. Yeah, we got somebody that's going to be doing the CAD with him, so looks like. So we got that.
To get
Blanc-
official documents.
Blanc equals white. Oh, okay. So so it's like the white pom pom or something. Am I single or is she single? Because neither one of us is single.
No, we're both married.
We're both
To
married.
each other.
To each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Bob. I hope that really helps. All right, guys. I'm all caught up on the questions now. I'm going to go ahead and head off here. I am very hungry, so I'm going to go see if I can eat some food. Might roast some mushrooms up. So thank you guys for making this such a wonderful first experience on live stream. And we'll do this again real soon. Thank you all.
Bye.
Oh, keep Swan culture.
Yep.